This is the news on NTA International, reaching you from Abuja. I'm Obiageli Ugweke. We thank you for joining us. On the news, President Muhammadu Buhari reassures Nigerians of all the Progressive Congress promise of taking the country to the next level. Supreme Court of Nigeria sets up 2 panels to entertain election-related appeals during our vacation. People's Democratic Party and its candidates close case at presidential election petition courts. Plus, echoes Parliament promises assistance to internally displaced persons in Mali. Now the news in details. Media organizations in the country have been tasked to exhibit high sense of responsibility and patriotism in the discharge of their mandates as a deliberate attempt towards bringing to an end the devastating consequences of the fake news phenomenon in the nation's body policy. President Muhammadu Buhari threw the challenge while granting audience to the Board of Directors and Management Team of the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN. State House correspondent Adam Sambo has the details.
With the advent of internet, computers, mobile phones and other similar communication devices, President Buhari said information technology is now the order of the day. He is, however, worried that this enabler for societal advancement is more and more being used to instigate violence and hate.
Nowhere is this disturbing trend more apparent than in the various media platforms where fake news gaining momentum is being used to divide and destabilize communities and indeed nations around the world. We see images being manipulated to give legitimacy to lies. We hear voices on radio preaching falsehood and hatred. We also read stories sponsored by individuals who stand to gain at the expense of truth, peace, and harmony.
The future of journalism profession, he believes, is under threat with the growing increase in fake news and therefore challenge practitioners to take far-reaching measures towards safeguarding professionalism as well as their reputation.
In the case of Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, you must proactively develop programs based on truth, facts, and on broader national interest. You should also have strategies to react to fake information and sensitize our citizens not to believe stories at face value, especially when the source is unknown or not credible, or where supporting facts are not available.
The Chairman Board of Directors of the FRCN, Malam Aliyu Hayatu, had congratulated President Buhari on his re-election and assured him of the corporation's unwavering commitment towards the success of the next level agenda by discharging its broadcast obligations professionally and efficiently. This, he said, can only be done effectively if the FRCN has transmission capability as well as the ability to be heard in every nook and cranny of Nigeria.
FRCN requires a transmission capability that can be heard loud and clear after a distance of 1,500 kilometers or more, so that the reception in Badagry, Maiduguri, Port Harcourt and Sokoto can be adequate and efficient. What obtains presently, Mr. President, is an FM transmission capability which does not go beyond 150 kilometers.
He made a case for enhanced budgetary allocation to the corporation, which he, however, said should not be seen as a business venture that is expected to provide immediate returns.
Funding FRCN must be seen as addressing a security challenge which aims at bringing government closer to the people with the aims of averting the hijacking of the thoughts and consciousness of Nigerians by foreign radio broadcast.
Malam Hayatu said it is not impossible for the FRCN to favorably compare with the best radio networks in the world now competing for the soul and mind of Nigerians. From the State House at Musambu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari is once again assuring Nigerians that the governing All Progressives Congress under his watch will neither let them down nor fail to fulfill its promise of taking the country to the next level. This was while receiving an audience NBO Dynamic Support Group on the Solidarity Visit. Status correspondent Adamu Sambo again has the report.
One nation, one The NBO Dynamic Support Group is one of the various associations that chart a supportive course towards the re-election of President Muhammadu Buhari for a second term of office. The members from across Nigeria are here to seek the President's approval for the group to transmute into what they call NBO Cares Foundation as a platform for empowerment, education, and support services for the downtrodden.
As we journey into the next level, it is important to simplify the contents of this agenda, which inform our decision to propose a summit on achieving the next level agenda challenges and prospects. It is our hope that will avail us your endorsement of this laudable event.
The Dynamic Support Group has consequently taken steps towards bridging the gap between the government and the governed by developing citizen government information flow to help the Buhari administration scale up its policies and programs for greater public appreciation and support.
I want to emphasize that our readiness to become an asset to your administrations. MBO parade quality members of professionals who have excelled in various fields of endeavors that will impact this administration next level project positively. We therefore request that you give consideration to these noble men and women who promise we will never let you down, Your Excellency.
President Muhammadu Buhari appreciated the Dynamic Support Group for demonstrating high sense of patriotism, responsibility, and commitment to the ideals of the Change Nigeria enterprise, assuring the members that their sacrifices will not be in vain.
Our vision for change is to have a safe and secure country for our citizens, a vibrant and inclusive economy that provides jobs and livelihood for our young and energetic population, and of course, a governance system that is free of corruption, a system where any Nigerian has the same opportunity as the next one. This is what we campaigned on in 2015. This is what we invested in during our first term, and this is what we shall continue to promote, protect, and preserve in our second term.
The President urged his guests as leaders in their respective communities to take back home this message of renewed hope and commitment to a greater Nigeria.
It is not about politics, religion, or tribe. It is about having a Nigeria where our families will be safe and our children will have plentiful opportunities to earn a living and have comfortable lives.
President Buhari described as pleasing some of the ideas proffered by the group, which he promised will be reviewed properly for possible consideration. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Talking security now, the Nigerian Army has confirmed the killing of a colonel, a captain, and 3 soldiers by Boko Haram insurgents in Borno. The Deputy Director of Public Relations Operation Lafia Dole, Colonel Issa Ado, who gave the confirmation in a statement, noted that the incident occurred on Wednesday in Chakana area of Borno when the officers and soldiers on transit from Maiduguri to Damaturu were ambushed. Troops of 212 Battalion deployed at Forward Operating Base Jacana responded by neutralizing unconfirmed number of the Boko Haram and ISWAP terrorists on a mission to infiltrate the military base to Ghana logistics. During the encounter, 1 anti-aircraft gun, 2 rocket-propelled grenade tubes, 2 AK-47 rifles, 15 machine gun rounds, and 12 AK-47 NATO grounds were recovered from the terrorists who fled in this area. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, commiserates with the families of the fallen heroes, reiterating that the Army will not be deterred in the ongoing patriotic fight against terrorism in the Northeast. In the meantime, the Nigerian Air Force says it will expand its capacity in the production of uniforms for personnel to meet the presidential directive for the Nigerian Armed Forces to sue and patronize local fabrics. Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar, stated this during a working visit to Kaduna. Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachuku reports.
To ensure self-sufficiency and reduce the burden of importation, the Nigerian Air Force, under the leadership of the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Baba Abubakar, established a tailoring workshop in Kaduna to produce uniforms for serving officers and staff of the force. More than 6,000 uniforms have been produced by the workshop. Impressed by the level of progress at the workshop, the Chief of the Air Staff said its production capacity will be expanded.
Based on the directive, what more can we do to enhance the capacity of this facility here to produce what we want? We are producing uniforms now. We are looking at flying suits. We want to see how we can get flying suits here. We want to see how we can get technician suits and some other uniform items that are required in the service.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian Air Force has immortalized two of its gallant flying officers, late Air Commodore Adanu Gabriel Ochai and late Flying Lieutenant Kalto Paul Kilofas, who died in active service with the inauguration of 3-bedroom flats for married officers.
Professionalism is about having the right structure. It's also about ensuring that capacity of personnel, lack of capacity is addressed.
Also inaugurated a set of 1-bedroom flats for single air officers. In Kaduna, I am Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachikun, NTA News.
From the judiciary comes the report that the People's Democratic Party and its candidate, Atiku Abubakar, this Friday closed their case at the Presidential Election Petition Court. The petitioners are challenging the victory of the President, Muhammadu Buhari, in the February 23rd presidential election. Dele Atumbi reports.
This Friday marks the 10th and last day that the People's Democratic Party and its candidate, Atiku Abubakar, have to present their case before the Presidential Election Petition Court sitting in Abuja. Matters relating to the election of the President and that of the Vice President in Nigeria fall within the original jurisdiction of the Court of Appeal in line with Section 239 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. The petitioners called 62 witnesses, including 2 experts, in data analysis, improving their case. They equally tendered several documents, improving their matter. At this Friday's hearing, the petitioners, through their counsel, Chris Uche, SAN, called 2 experts. Counsel to President Muhammadu Buhari, Wole Olanipekun, SAN, and Lateef Fagbemi, SAN, counsel to the APC, objected to the calling of the 2 experts to give evidence. The 2 counsel to the respondents reserved reasons for their objections till their final addresses. The experts, in their opinions, told the court that the Independent National Electoral Commission purportedly has 4 websites. During cross-examination, one of the experts told the court that it was yet to be certified. Another witness admitted before the court that he voted in the presidential election, having been properly accredited through the use of smart card reader. Apart from tendering additional documents relating to the conduct of presidential election in Kano State, the petitioners also tendered all the documents which INEC recently availed to them. The petitioners are challenging the conduct of the presidential election in 11 states in the North Central, Northeast, and Northwest geopolitical zones of the country. INEC is to open its defense as the first respondent in the matter by 29th July 2019. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Supreme Court of Nigeria has announced that due to a high number of election-related appeals pending before the court, 2 panels will continue to sit during the annual vacation, March marks the end of the 2018-2019 legal year. A statement by the Supreme Court's Director of Press and Information, Dr. Wakande Festus, say that 2 panels, each with 5 justices, will continue to sit during the holiday period in order to conclude all election-related matters due to the timelines placed on them by the Constitution. The Supreme Court said all parties before it will therefore be contacted by the panels. And moving on now, the presidency is appealing to El-Zakzaky-led Shiite members to desist from needless violence, street protests, and await the decision of the court in Kaduna, where their leader is currently being tried. The senior special assistant to the president, Media and Publicity Garba Shehu, in a statement states that the issue of El-Zakzaky is before the court in Kaduna and his supporters should focus on his ongoing trial instead of causing daily damages, disruptions, and public nuisance in Abuja. It is wrong to be in court and resort to violence at the same time in order to get justice for anybody accused. The presidency therefore appeals to the Shiite group to stop deliberate provocations that result in violence and fatality and allow the trial of El-Zakzaky take its course. You're watching the News on NTA International, reaching you from Abuja. Time to take a short break now. We shall be back with more news in a moment. Stay with us.
NTA International.
Thanks for staying with us. Secretary to the government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, has reassured Nigerians, particularly Christians, that there is no plan by any person or ethnic group to Islamize Nigeria. Speaking at the 11th General Assembly of the Christian Association of Nigeria, held at the National Christian Center, Abuja, Boss Mustafa urged Christians to pray fervently for the Buhari administration to overcome all security challenges.
I wish to affirm that this next level government is more determined to fight religious fundamentalism and insurgency with greater political will and military action. Fundamentalist activities have been drastically curtailed and those found culpable are being brought before the courts of law.
The CAN National President, His Eminence Supo Ayokunle, at the event offered special prayers for the peace and progress in the country. In another development, the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria has commenced evacuation of pilgrims from Medina to Mecca as the Hajj period draws near. Lami Ali reports that the commission says the move is in line with keeping its commitment of ensuring that the itinerary of the pilgrimage for Nigerians is hit-free.
The groups evacuated to Mecca consist pilgrims from Katsina, Kano, and Lagos.
The effort of the NACON is for each and every pilgrim to achieve acceptable Hajj. And that is the reason why we are always together with the pilgrims in collaboration with their state official to make sure that they conduct themselves the way as per the Islamic injunction.
Our company will enter a contract with them for 35,000 pilgrims. Will convey 35,000 pilgrims from Medina to Makkah, Mashair, Jeddah, Makkah, Jeddah.
During their stay in Medina, the pilgrims visited geographical and historical landmarks. The pilgrims commended the efficiency so far displayed in handling the 2019 Hajj exercise by Nigerian authorities.
This year Hajj, I think the federal government really tried. They take care of in this Medina right from the one to the last day. even this morning we ate. Thank God, we thank the federal government, we thank the people's APC government and the Lagos State government for taking care of us. The NACON member also tried. They take care of us and they directed us all the way to Haram.
Inshallah, they will be going from strength to strength. And I pray that our governor will be with them all.
We visit so many places like Uhud, Bakia.
The first batch being moved to Mecca has more than 3,000 pilgrims. From Medina, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Away from that, the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria Aviation Security apprehended an intruder found in the propeller of Azman Air to the Bad Lagos to Port Harcourt Friday morning. A statement from the General Manager, Corporate Affairs, Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, Renta Yakubu, says the aircraft was waiting for clearance from air traffic controllers when the pilot sighted the man and promptly reported. The aircraft later departed after a thorough check to ascertain its safety, and authorities have intensified security surveillance in airports across the country to forestall a recurrence. And moving on, it was a surprise to many when United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities to be hosted in Nigeria was postponed, citing logistics as reasons. Now, the people living with disabilities are saying they will wait for the rescheduled date. Menka Marachiku tells us more.
Nigeria's effort at advocating better welfare for people living with disabilities made her a frontrunner on the African continent, which must have prompted the United Nations to choose the country for its Convention for the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. The event slated for July this year was, however, postponed, but persons living with disabilities in Nigeria are still hopeful of its convention in due course.
Persons with disability can be able to perform very well in the society, depending on the nature of the disability and your determination.
We're actually calling on other partners that are interested in the conference to assist us in the planning and raising of funds.
The current Disability Act that have been passed, there are economic benefits within that act. It will open up the space for investors, for people to come in and invest in wheelchair production. That's a huge job opportunity and job creation for even persons with disability.
The group feels Nigeria have more chance of hosting the UN Convention now that the country have enacted a law that will promote, protect and advance rights of persons living with disabilities in the country. In Abuja, Umenka Marachuku, NTA News.
Let's join Olayin Kojo from news from the financial sector.
Welcome to Business News. The nation's foreign reserves rose by $53.641 million from $45.04 billion. Only July won to $45.09 billion as at July 15. Latest figures from the Central Bank of Nigeria reveals that the reserves, which have suffered significant declines in the past, had been maintaining a steady rise. The federal government has offered for subscription 145 billion naira worth of bonds in its July 24 auction. The offer circular through the Debt Management Office shows it would sell 40 billion naira of a 5-year reopening issue maturity in April 2023 at 12.75%. It will also sell 50 billion naira 10-year reopening bond to mature in April 2029 at 14.55%. Let's now see how the equities market fared this Friday. And that's it on this segment of the news. I am Olayinka Ojo.
Many thanks, Olayinka. And on news from outside Nigeria, Speaker of ECOWAS Parliament promises more assistance for internally displaced persons in Mali. Details of these and more on the global scene. The Parliament of the Economic Community of West African States has been commended for